up. You guys know how it is. I was a little bit late. I wanted to start this like 20 minutes ago, but I had to hit the gym. I had to do all kinds of stuff. Let's bring this a little closer. Show my beautiful face. You know what I'm saying? You find the link to this, drop it in the Discord. Doesn't look like anyone's in here yet anyway. Usually takes about a minute. People start popping in. One person jumped in. Whoever you are, one person, you are the first person. And with the thumbs up. Thank you. I appreciate that. We just started, so we're just waiting for a couple of people to jump in. I'm just getting set up. Gotta get that chat popped out. You know how it goes. I see that comment. Just give me a second here. Gotta get the drink of the day ready. Shit, I got the hiccups. I promise, guys, I'm not day drinking. Whoo! Fucking hell. This is why I hate these nicotine pouches. Some of them are like super strong. They give you the hiccups. It's like no fucking QC. Give me a second. Anyone who uses nicotine pouches, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you'll put one in, and it's like 10 times stronger than everything else. I try to use them when I stream, so I'm not like vaping constantly, but fuck it. I'm probably just gonna vape. Wandering Magoo says, afternoon, Nemo. Hopefully the ice and snow are not getting to you too badly. Not at all. I'm in California. We don't really have that. Just making sure my mic's on. Yeah, we don't get snow here. Maybe like a tiny bit, like every 10 years. I went on a walk today. The sun was shining, 66 degrees. Dick says, how was the gym? I hope he had beer. No, I don't drink, bro. Gym was good. I see what you play on words there. Play on words. You're not really asking me how my workout was. Rancho Relaxo says, Nemo, how's it going, man? Good. Just got back from the gym. Finished it off with like a 35-minute walk in my neighborhood for the cardio. Just put down like a healthy double cheeseburger that I prepped. It's kind of dry because, you know, if you're eating cheeseburgers and you're like working out, you got to get them lean as hell. So I'm doing like, you know, above 90% on the leanness. So they're pretty dry, but a shitty cheeseburger is still a cheeseburger, and it's a great way to get the gains. Ben Gleason says, hey, bro, I was just watching your G22 review. Really? I feel like you've seen that before. That's an old one. Great sub. Big sub. Big sub. But if precision is the name of the game for you, if precision and accuracy are the two words that come to mind to describe the most what to you might be the most meaningful aspects of this hobby, a G22 might be for you. Yeah. Don't buy it expecting any flavor or coloration, though. Nope. Like, I could see studio people using that sub. It's most accurate sub I've ever heard, truthfully. Kenny Bowfish says, what's up, Nemo? Love your channel, fam. Thank you, bro. I'm glad you dig the channel, bro. I appreciate that. Rancho Relaxo says they do that to me, too. Do what? What did you say earlier? Oh, you're talking about the pouches? How they just like hit you super hard sometimes? Yeah. It's super frustrating, dude. Uh, Gregory Alderson says, "My friend, how was your holiday?" Holiday was great, dude. It was great. Well, for Thanksgiving, I usually drive down and see my mom, and that's cool. And then usually, because I don't know how your guys' families are, but like, dude, all my aunts and uncles are like, they're always fighting about something now. They're all like super political. It's really annoying. So for Thanksgiving, I hang out with my mom. Then on my way back, I swing by my uncle's house. And then for Christmas, I went to my aunt's house. And Christmas, most of the family was there, but a lot of people weren't. Because again, like just because of stupid politics, like some of them just don't get along, which is stupid. You know what I mean? But they won't listen to me. Like I'm 42 years old, but like I'm the baby of the family. You know what I mean? They still view me like I'm 15 years old. So it is what it is. But I had a great time. I was happy to see my cousins, my aunties and uncles. They're getting up there in age. So I try to see them any opportunity I have. I'm always happy to see them. Guys, I found this new DJ on YouTube. I gotta tell you about him real quick. If you see me like grooving, it's because I feel the vibes of his music so much. And I'll be honest, I don't know if it's an AI channel or not, but the shit is so good, dude. It's the playlist. I'll drop it in the Discord if anyone asks, but it's DJ Schulle, no space, DJ SCHULLE. And like every single one of his songs is an absolute banger. And that's the only reason I think it might be an AI channel. Because I'm like, dude, there's no, and he doesn't even have that many subscribers, like 7,000 subscribers. I'm like, there's no way this guy is this good. I mean, if he is, this DJ Schulle fella is going to be like the next it DJ of the decade. Because every single one of his songs, I mean, here, look, I'm just going to drop his playlist in the chat. Actually, I just realized I could do that. Let's see. Dude, it's just like so good. I've been listening to it for like 3 weeks, nonstop. Ben, you got 30 inches of snow this week? That's a lot of snow. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like 10 inches is a lot of snow. 30, I think, is crazy. Wow. Rancho Laxo says, nice, cool. Wandering Magoo says, didn't know you were in California. My bad. All good, bro. Oh, you're in Southwest Florida, so it's 81 degrees over there. Yeah. Certain states, like this is what I like to say about California. We don't have winter. We don't have seasons, really. We essentially have two kinds of climate here. We have summer, and then we have not summer. And that's it. Like, we don't have a winter. It's either summer or it's not summer. That's it. Jay Ponzi is saying, hey, Nemo, thanks for all the awesome reviews. No problem. Glad you're enjoying them, my bro. He's asking if I've got any recommendation on a near field speaker on stands, like flanking a computer monitor. Paired with a LT0, budget up to $2,000. I don't do near field. I don't even have a near field setup. Like right now where I'm sitting, this is my PC setup. I'm sitting, like behind me is my living room. In front of me is my kitchen. I'm sitting at my kitchen island with a laptop. I don't have like a dedicated PC space. I have a gaming PC over there, but like I'm a couch gamer. I don't have a desktop here where I can test that kind of stuff. 2,000 is a healthy budget, but you're not going to want something big like a KEF R3 Meta, for example, right? So why don't you do this? Tell me what kind of sound you like, and that'll help me, give you more of a recommendation instead of focusing just on desktop. Because, like there's like the Monacoustic Supermon Mini. Those are tiny. They would look amazing on a desk. They're incredibly resolving, but you're going to want to pair them with, some pretty darn good amplification, because the mid-range and treble you're going to get out of those speakers in terms of how resolving and detailed they are is like a $8,000 to $10,000 speaker. You got to treat them like high end. I don't know if you want that. I don't know if you want something warm. I don't know if you're trying to mix. I don't know if you're playing games and just having fun and it's casual. So give me a little bit more information. Let's ignore the fact that it's on a desk. Let's see if we could just find something that's your taste. That's probably the best I could do. Still no sponsorship on a sparkling water, guys. Still no sponsorship. I'm probably putting down 5 of these a day. You know what I mean? Like if there's any microplastics in here, I'm probably at max toxicity. I don't know. So if I start to get like kind of retarded, maybe I don't know. Where did we leave off? Oh yeah, Japonzi's comment. All right, so Rancho Relaxo says nicotine patches give me hiccups too. Yeah, bro. Not all of them do it for me because I do the 3s, which aren't that strong, but every now and then I'll get one, and I swear to God, it's like a 12. Because usually when I put a 3 in, like I could barely feel it 99% of the time, and then every now and then I'll get one that's like I feel like I just put like the spiciest hot sauce in the world in my mouth. It's super frustrating. I think some of them have holes in them too, is what it is. Serge says, "What's up, brother? Always a treat when I catch the live." Thank you, I appreciate it, Serge. You're a long-time subscriber. If I remember your name, if I remember your username, you've been with the channel for a long time. Because guys, I got a bad memory when it comes to people's names and people's faces. Oh my God. Like if you see me at Axpona this year and we've met before, please, please, please do not take it personally if I don't remember your face and name. I'm horrendous with that. It's nothing personal, I promise. Ben Gleason says the stuff going on in Iran is crazy. Yeah, I mean, every few years it happens, bro. Like, if you pay attention, like, about every 3 years, there's a whole bunch of civil unrest and the people protest, and you know they don't have the freedom of speech out there. You're not allowed to criticize the government, so they get gunned down. Unfortunately, it's a terrible thing. There's a lot of countries like that. A lot of countries don't have freedom of speech. A lot of countries do not take kindly to criticizing the government. A lot of people think it's like just North Korea, right? Where you can't criticize the government. Oh, no. Many countries, guys. Like, I'll tell you this. For those of you that don't know, Ben's saying that because my family's from Iran, right? I know I look like a white guy. Fun fact, white guys, we're not Arabic. A lot of people think we're like Arabs. We're not. There are darker skinned Iranians, but most Iranians tend to look more like me, right? Like in the Middle East, like your Armenians and your Iranians tend to be more fair skinned, right? Anyways, I digress. But what the hell was I saying? Oh yeah. So in Iran, right? Fun fact, guys, not a lot of diversity in music, because in Iran, a lot of the like information channels are filtered through the government, if you will, right? So that's like music, movies, all your entertainment is, filtered through like the, Islamic government. So you can't have a song that's talking any kind of anything that's divisive. You can definitely not have a song about hooking up with ladies. You can definitely not have a song about partying. You can 1000% not have a song about drinking alcohol. Are you crazy? Alcohol is illegal in Iran. So what that does is it creates a situation where songs can only be about one of two things. In Iran, when you listen to music publicly, right, what you do in your own home is different. People do, have their ways of smuggling music in. But in Iran, all music is of one of two topics. Either they're singing about how much they love God, or secondly, they're singing about how much they love the country. That's it. You're not allowed to sing about anything else realistically in Iran. Don't even try to walk down the street holding a woman's hand. If she better be your wife. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, dude. There's a lot of like oppression there. But anyways, look, you guys didn't come here to hear me talk about Iran. Like there's shit going on everywhere in the world. You can't let everything bother you. You can't. Like, we're lucky we're not there. You know what I mean? Like, we have good lives. We can like only be grateful for it. Oh, you know what, guys? Give me a second. My laptop has an OLED screen, and I set it to like dim after 5 minutes of inactivity. And when I live stream, I have to change that setting. Otherwise, it just like keeps dimming on me. All right, was this screen sleep, hibernate? Yeah, let's change that from 5 minutes. Let's change that to just like 25 minutes. Should be good. All right, where did we leave off? Dick McCoy says, finally, somebody who knows how to pronounce aunt correctly. Ant. It bothers you when people say ant? It's okay if people say ant. I don't mind. Yeah, he's saying he gets annoyed when people say ant. Look, here's the thing. Language, Dick, is about communication. And if you understand what the person's saying, they're communicating successfully and effectively. But I get what you mean, like espresso. Some people say espresso. And I'm like, dude, that's not how you say it. But enough people said it wrong that espresso is now considered an acceptable alternative. Is what it is, huh? It is what it is. Rancho Relaxo says the high desert has winter in California. Yeah, no, I know. There's definitely parts of California that will get chilly, that will get snow, but, you know, where I live, it's not like that. Oh, and Odyssey says thoughts on Emotiva B1 Plus with a JBL 550p. My brother, those are both discontinued products, so I would need to know maybe why you're asking me, because I don't want to sit here and give you a bunch of advice on a set of speakers and a subwoofer you can't buy, right? The B1 Plus has been discontinued for a long time. So is the JBL 550p, at least 2 years for both of them. Gregory's asking if I can get my hands on the Galleon Discovery monoblocks. No, but I do have some Galleon equipment here. I have one of Thomas's power amps and two of his preamps. I can't remember if one of them is unreleased yet, so I'm not going to say anything about which one it is. But if I remember correctly, the Discovery monoblocks are quite large and heavy, and I can't like review stuff like that. I don't know, maybe like I'll look at them, you know what I mean, but no promises. All right, guys, we're going to roll the dice. We're going to try another pouch. Actually, you know what? I'm going to grab a 10. Actually, no, let's try this. I was going to say I'll grab another 10, but let's see if this one gives me the hiccups too. So Rohizzle121 says, have you tried Dirac Art? No, I don't use DSP in my system. I'm an all analog guy, but I do think if you have a multi-channel, right? Like pretty much any theater, because I'm a stereo guy. I got a left and right speaker and one or two subwoofers. That's it. It's not a lot to set up. But for the guys that are doing multi-channel, where you got front, center, right, front, left, and right, a center channel, some Atmos in the ceiling maybe, some rear speakers, maybe some side speakers, 3, 4, or 5 subwoofers, then yeah, time aligning all that is going to be huge. And DSP is super helpful in situations like that. And DSP certainly can be helpful in 2-channel stereo as well. If the room's pretty wonky or has a lot of issues, my room just doesn't have a lot of issues, so I don't need it. And then he says that he bought 3 Rhythmic FVX12s because of me. That is awesome. That is still one of my favorite subwoofers, and I still have mine. I still use it all the time. Congrats. That's an awesome subwoofer. Still a hidden gem in my book. Ben Gleason says Supermon Mini versus ATC for mid-range and top end. You know, Ben, the Supermon Mini is so small. It's so niche. You can't really compare it to anything. It's kind of its own product. Anything we compare it to, the comparison is going to go the same way. Any other bookshelf speaker is going to have more bass. and a thicker mid-range. Even bookshelf speakers that are known for sounding thin, because the Supermon Mini is so small, right? But conversely, any speaker, you know, around the same price, within $1,000 even, like even at $1,000, doesn't matter. The Supermon Mini's mid-range and treble resolution is going to destroy everything. Because again, it's mid-range treble. It's mid-range and treble resolution is more on par with something like a Focal Cansa #1, right? It is like true high-end mid-range and treble, but from a tiny speaker. So we can't expect, you know, a massive sense of scale like we get from towers. We can't expect the weight and sound power that comes from bigger speakers. But it's just too niche really to compare it to anything, you know? But that's the best way I can answer that question. David says, thanks for the rhythmic reviews. Just ordered a 15. Which one? Did you do like the E15 or one of the vented ones? Those are all badass. Whoa, the sun's changing the way it's shining. And I was like dark, and now I'm like kind of lit up. Who cares? Sorry, I got distracted. Yeah, let me know which 15 you got. That's epic. Peter is saying, hi, have you tested the SVS SB3000 Revolution? Not yet. Not yet. No one has one yet. They just came out like a week or two ago, right? But SVS did shoot me a text, and they were like, hey, is this still your address? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, cool, we're sending you something. They know I don't like big, heavy subwoofers, right? So they're definitely not sending me the SB5000 because we've joked about it. Like, they know I can't review that, and they know my room's too small for that. Likewise, they're not sending me the PB3000, right? That's too big for me. And the Micro is not available yet. So there's like a 90% chance what they're sending me is an SB3000 Revolution. And based on when that text message was when we talked, it should be delivering like this Monday or Tuesday, right? So once I get my hands on it, I'll try to, you know, maybe drop some sneak peeks in the Discord. Maybe I'll do a community post if I can. I'm gonna have to break it in. It is most likely a brand new unit. Sealed subs with a ton of power, like that new 3000 Revolution, do need a good amount of break-in. You know, like it's probably gonna need 30 to 50 hours of hard play. So I'm not gonna have impressions right away, but I'm about 90% sure I'll have one in just a couple days. And I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that. The original 3000 was really popular. It really, really, really fit the niche for guys who, you know, they wanted the output of a bigger sub and for one reason or another didn't want or couldn't accommodate a bigger sub. And you know, typically, you know, smaller subs with a lot of output are really expensive, like JLE 112, Perlison D12S, right? Hell, even like the KEF KC92 doesn't even get that loud. It was $2,500, you know? So the SVS 3000, SB 3000 is kind of unique in that it's pretty much priced lower than all the other compact big output subs. So I'm curious about it. When I'm not walking, like I got a bunch of stuff in my eyes. Serge, I see that super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. Let me make this text bigger. Nemo's getting old, guys. Oh, that's a little helpful. I angled my laptop. Because like you guys are here, camera's here, but like laptop's over here. All right, DTD Campbell says, have you ever tested a preamp with an integrated amp at max power? Like the Choco Ime. What are the positives, negatives? No, it's redundant, but thinking about sound changes, upgrade path, etc. I don't understand your question. Are you asking me if I've connected a preamp? Look, the light's all weird again. If I've connected a preamp to like an integrated amps home theater bypass and used it as a power amp? Or are you asking me if I've compared an integrated amp to a preamp and a power amp? Let me know. And when I come back across your question, I'll answer. This is weird. Let me see if opening the blinds a little more helps. One sec, guys. It's either going to help or it's going to make it worse. Let's see. I feel like it didn't really do anything. Oh well. The sun will probably just keep shifting and change in a few minutes. Now the sun's in my eye. Great. Oh well, it is what it is. We don't let those things stop us. So yeah, DTD Campbell, clarify, and I'll answer. Wandering Magoo says, Nemo, have you tried the Odyssey audio products like the Stratus amps for their speakers, like the Laura Lee, or heard them at a show? No, I haven't. I've heard them at a show, but it's hard to put stock in that. Sorry, guys, I gotta close the blinds. It's like really bothering me now. Sorry, I'm gonna open a different one. All right, that's a little bit better. So yeah, look, Odyssey Audio, for those of you that don't know, is a great company. They make great products, but it's a one-man operation. It's owner operated. The owner builds every amp by hand. For those of you that want a very personalized buying experience of high quality products that are priced fair, that's Odyssey Audio. Now, because it's a one-man operation, he doesn't need any reviews. Like, you order an amp from him today, you're gonna go on a list. He sells out of everything he makes. He's got a list because it's just one guy making them. So a company like that, with that kind of business model, they don't need any marketing if they've got a good reputation, because how many amplifiers can one man make, right? But it's good stuff. It's good stuff. I haven't reviewed one. I've only heard them at shows. Everyone who owns one absolutely loves it. Yeah, it's kind of like one of the last few hi-fi companies that still takes that very old world approach. Hundreds and hundreds of years ago, if you wanted a sword, you went to the blacksmith. The blacksmith made the sword by hand for you. It was very personal. It was the same with clothes. You wanted a jacket, you went to the clothier. He made you a jacket for you, right? And if you had any problems, the same guy who made it and sold it to you will fix it. That's how Odyssey Audio functions, which is awesome. I wish I could review them, because they deserve promotion. They just don't need any promotion. Papa Bane says, good afternoon. What's up, man? Serge says, a quick on sub setup. I used REW and sent. I think you click send on that comment too soon, because it doesn't seem like a complete sentence. I'm not sure. Sorry, bro. Owen Odyssey says, I already own them. Was just curious your thoughts on my system. Run it with a Fosse DA2120C. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. No problem, bro. So the B1 Plus, I like them a lot. Great inexpensive speaker. The JBL 550p is cool. It'll get hella loud, but you already know it's not doing anything below 30 hertz. That is just the nature of affordable subwoofers. Your amp, I hate. I hate your amp. I'm sorry. It's grainy and it's gritty. And it's not just because it's cheap. It's because it's from that old era of Class D, right? Like, the newer Class D amps are going to sound quite a bit better, Yeah, I had a DA2120C. It's unrefined, it's grainy, it's gritty. I don't like it. The EQ modes are all trash. They don't do anything. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to like shit on what you have. What I'm trying to do is point out where I think you would have your best gains if you're thinking about an upgrade path. So upgrading to something like the Fosi ZA3, that right there will give you a pretty good upgrade. Unless like if you have like not the best hearing and you don't notice it's grainy and gritty, then I guess that's not a big deal. Not everyone can hear that kind of stuff, and that's okay. And then your subwoofer, upgrading to something that like a RSL 10E will get you more deep bass extension, a tighter sound, more high quality bass. Your speakers are fine. I love the B1 Plus. If you wanted to like upgrade from there, that would probably be your most costly upgrade because your speakers are really good. I think those were a high value speaker and they had a lot of performance for the money. Like you'd want to step into the like $800 territory to upgrade your speakers, which is a big jump, but you could upgrade your amp for super cheap and you could probably sell your sub for like $200 on Marketplace and get an RSL 10E for like not much more money. So those are my recommendations. Yeah, hope that helps, bro. Bling says any speaker cable Rex is 20 feet too long for speaker cables. It depends, you know. Let me sap some water and I'll tell you what I think. Well, not water, I suppose, sparkling water. Or as me and my friends call it, spicy water. So look, cables are one of those things that are priced all over the place, okay? I've never used 20-foot speaker cables, so I can't speak to the length. I have used 12-foot speaker cables, which is quite long. I think you're gonna have a harder time finding a company that'll make you a 20-foot. Let me see if it's available, because I actually did find a really good inexpensive cable for speakers. It's made by Zoo Audio, actually, and it looks really good too. I've had this speaker cable for like 6 months now, and it's freaking good. So they got their event speaker cable. No, that's not the one. That's like the next model up, you know? I think they call it the Option. I'm scrolling on their website right now. What I'm doing is I'm checking to see how long they make them. So yeah, Option LC is what they're called. Yeah, like they start at $20. This is insane. Yeah, they'll do a 20-foot. So if you do a 20-foot in, you know, banana, you are looking at $208. That's pretty affordable, man, for a pair of 20-foot speaker cables, 6.1 meters. Yeah, Zoo Option. I'll drop you a link in the chat. That's a pretty good one if you're not trying to break the bank. If that's too down market, like you wanted a more like high end recommendation, what I would recommend is contact Boris at theaudiolegacy.com. He is who I recommend for, like, he's an online retailer, and the guy just really knows his stuff about speaker cables. You know, like he'll ask you all kinds of questions, like what kind of music you listen to, what speakers you have, what the rest of your system is, how long they have to be, and he'll recommend one, but you're going to spend a lot more, I'd imagine. Yeah, that Zoo Option is probably the best inexpensive one I'd recommend. Sean B is asking, if I get sunburned, or do you have tougher white skin than a European? No, I'm more like European. Yeah, I'll get burned pretty bad. Me and my friends used to go boating a lot. We haven't been recently because everyone has kids now. We'll probably start boating again in a couple of years. But yeah, I can get sunburned pretty bad, but I can also tan. So I'm not like Danish, right? Yeah, just regular white guy essentially in terms of sun resistance. Chris Veltzman says the dynamic peaks of 225 watts per channel with the name Nate 50 allows for the CSS Crichton 1 TDX to be brilliant for low listening levels. Additionally, I'm not buying anything beyond necessities. That's more of a statement, my bro. But I'll say this. I fucking love the CSS Crichton 1 TDXs. They're a fantastic speaker. And if you were able to get them to perform well at low volumes, my hat's off to you, because that is a speaker that likes to play louder, right? But do keep in mind, low volume is relative to room size and how far away you sit, right? So that's another aspect. But yeah, I love the CSS Crichton. That is such a good speaker. I'm not going to read your hashtag, bro. Sorry. Like, we got to keep it focused here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be divisive or like divide people. Everyone can believe what they want. I don't care. Me myself, I'm not that political. I tend to believe like what's best is like control the things you can, right? Like respect your body, treat the people around you well. You know, be a good human being. Don't be dishonest. If you do something wrong, apologize. Be the example you want to see. That's the only power I believe we really have. Yeah. Serge says measurements to Chat GPT and totally dialed in my subs, and they sub the best they sound. Got a lot of fucking typos in there, bro. I get what you're saying though. You use GPT for your settings and they sound good. Cool. Rhythmic E15s is the one he's got. So I got him level matched, crossover phase, everything checked out. Yeah. I've talked to a lot of people that have used Chat GPT to like dial in their like DSP tweaks and settings. Yeah. It's definitely worth trying. Why wouldn't you try it? Absolutely. And congrats on the Rhythmic E15s. Those are fantastic subs. Eric, we don't talk about that brand. Please don't ask me about that again. Anyone who asks me about that brand usually does get blocked. So let's not do that. To be honest, I'm not even sure you're a real person now. Eric, say something in the group so we know you're a real person. If you don't, I'm gonna block you. Serge, Serge with the super chat. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Roman Godfrey says, my friend, is the Rel Predator 1510 Mark 1 better than the Rhythmic F18, which is faster and produces tighter bass? Well, there's no, what do you mean Predator 1510 Mark 1? That's not a thing. So like the Rel Predator only has two versions, the original 1508 and then the 1510. There's no Mark 1 or Mark 2 because they have different names, right? So are like, you got to clarify if you're talking about 1508 or 1510, but honestly, like, let's just keep it real here, bro. Like what do you think? Like, look, as good as the Rel Predator 1510 is, Rel did not make that to compete with an 18-inch subwoofer, bro. Like, come on now. Gotta be realistic. You know, we gotta be realistic here. Rhythmic F18 is a motherfucking 18-inch sub. We cannot expect Rhythmic's own E15 HP2 to like take it down, right? Size matters. Size matters a lot. In terms of like which one is faster or produces tighter bass, they're both quick and they can both play tight. Straight up, you know what I mean? The Rel Predator 1510 tonally is a little drier, so it's gonna sound a little quicker. It's gonna sound like it's a little bit more immediate. The Rhythmic F18 is gonna extend quite a bit lower. Extension has a time element, so to your ear, it's not gonna sound quite as fast. And what I'm talking about right now is the perception of speed, which is not the same thing as actual speed. Actual speed is transient response and start-stop behavior. And both subwoofers are phenomenal when it comes to that. But in terms of which one sounds quicker, almost always the sub with the slightly less extension is most likely going to sound a little bit quicker because deep bass extension has a time element to it, right? So setting perception aside and just talking about real world speed and the transients and tightness, One's not necessarily better than the other. The F18 is just going to play a whole hell of a lot louder and extend a whole hell of a lot lower because it's an 18. Both have excellent sound quality. Yeah. That's basically here. This is my answer. Sound quality shouldn't be the differentiator between the two. If you're thinking about buying one or the other, you shouldn't be thinking about sound quality because they both have really good sound quality. What you should be asking yourself is the size, the shape, which one's going to look better in your room. Do you need extension down in the 12, 13 hertz range? How much output do you need? Those are the questions you should be asking yourself if you're between those two subs, because there's a big size difference. David says E15 HP2 trying to hide the size expansion from the spouse. Nice. I respect it. All right. Serge says, just a little something to contribute to the Discord. That's valuable. I appreciate you, bro. Mike9740 says, I think you're going to be very surprised with the new Revolution series, brother. Their tech is so much improved since any of their old subs. How do you know? Did you go to CES? Or maybe have you heard the 5000? I know that's one of the new ones. Yeah, if you've got any insight, share it, brother. Don't be so cryptic. Everyone's dying to know. You know what I mean? We're all dying to know. I know they've got 50% more power, which is pretty nuts. And they certainly had to give it a new driver to handle that power increase. And that's really impressive on its own. But I'm curious if there's anything you know that we don't. Tell us. Share with the class. Or don't be greedy. Yeah, see that last pouch? Smooth. No problems. That first one was just spicy. Carston says, in case you didn't already know, RSL has confirmed that the IA255.1 will be discontinued due to the AMP IC chip also being discontinued. They're trying to do a final run, but we'll do a redesign for 2026. Okay. Yeah, that's a bummer. I've heard rumors about that, man. That kind of stuff happens sometimes, If a critical component's no longer available, they can't make the product. If they release a new one, I will review it because that IA255.1 was the best little inexpensive Class D amp I'd ever heard. It was so good. I still have mine. Roman, you typed your question twice. I already answered that. Old Guy Hi-Fi, what's up, dude? What is up? Guys, if you haven't checked out Old Guy Hi-Fi's channel, check him out. He's another fellow reviewer. He does great work. He gets into the nuts and bolts more than I would say I do. He's more technical. Yeah, definitely check him out. If you'd like to know a little bit more of, I don't want to say the science behind things, because then you're going to think he's like a measurements only guy, which he's not. You know what I mean? You know what I say? It's like this really good balance of a fundamental understanding of the why behind a sound that's shared with the audience, as well as someone with a good ear who spends a ton of time listening to the product as well. Yeah, that's the best way I could say that. Where did I leave off? Serge says, David Canvas, the E15 HP2 is absolute killer. You'll love it. People talking to each other. More people talking to each other. So a definitive maybe says KLH Model 5s for 3 years and like them. Paired to my Advanced Paris A12, but wanting to upgrade, thinking Monacoustics Platamon without speaker stands, too spendy. Yeah, the stands are pretty spendy. I hear you. Low-level listener 2, thoughts? I never heard the KLH anything, so I can't comment on the KLH sound. But I own the Platamon. I bought them after the review. They're kind of like my detail speaker reference. It used to be the Focal Canta number ones. After I heard the Platamons, I sold my Canta number ones because my Platamons were just better in every way. So the Platamon is your detail first sound. If you're the detail first customer, you're gonna love them. You are gonna love them. Oh my goodness. They are also exceptionally good at low volume listening levels for sure. But if you want like tonal warmth, richness, organics, no, that's not what they do. Clean, clear, fast, dynamic, detailed, resolving, high end. That's the Platamon. Dan Black says, "What's up, brother? What's up, Dan?" Dan Black says, "Have you tried any of the Verify audio products?" Yeah, I reviewed the Caldera 10. Yeah, great little sub for like $199. You know what I mean? In terms of its bass quality, was really good. Now, I mean, it's a really small 10-inch sub. It's not going to get crazy loud, and nor is its sound quality going to take down our LT7X. That's, like 5 times the price. But the level of bass fidelity you're getting for $200 is crazy good. Yeah, that's a good sub. I can't say much. I'll say this. I actually talked to the owner just a couple days ago. He is working on some stuff, and I will be reviewing that stuff as soon as it's available. But yeah, he makes really just winners at prices that are pretty nuts. Quiet Pride is asking if I've got any thoughts on the Onkyo M80. My guy, I don't even know what that is. Let me Google it. I know what Onkyo is, and shit, but I don't know what the M80 is. Sounds like a firework. Oh, that's a nice little integrated amp, it looks like. Yeah. Let me see if I can go to their website. That looks pretty cool. Or is it a power amp? Oh, it's a power amp. Yeah, that's a power amp. With VU meters, that looks super cool. I don't review power amps though, bro. I'm sorry. So no, I haven't heard it, but it looks super nice. Like that's a good looking power amp. I understand why you're interested in it. Let's see if Crutchfield has more info on one. It's checking to see if I'm a human. Yep, I'm a human. Yeah, stereo power amplifier. 200 watts times 2 into 4 ohms. $2,000. Yeah, looks like it's built real well, Nice VU meters. Nice top panel, side panels. Good chassis. Looks like a great amp. A/B switching, A and B sets of speakers. It is also an A/B amplifier. Yeah, no, I haven't heard it, but it looks super nice. If I reviewed power amps, I would totally review it, but I don't really review power amps. It's not my thing. Like, I might once every few years, but... Cool. Give me a second. Let me adjust myself. My chair shifted. I'm on tile floor, so it moves around. DTD says, sorry, it is a weird question. Let's see if the question is weird. Let's see. More than likely, you would never have done this. As an example, if someone had a Choco and then wanted to upgrade slowly to separates. Bro, I still don't understand what you mean. Oh, he typed more. What would they find sound-wise if they threw a Kinky EXP7 in front of the Choco Ime? You can't do that. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, your understanding of the signal chain is slightly off. You can't do that. You cannot put a preamp in front of an integrated amp unless that integrated amp has bypass. Choco Ime does not have bypass. That's actually very rare feature, right? Some integrated amps have home theater bypass, most don't. Yeah, so if you bought a Choco Ime and you loved it and you wanted to upgrade from there to separates, you'd have to just switch to separates. There's no way to integrate the Choco into that separates chain because that's just a regular integrated amp. Hawkbury's asking thoughts on SVS 3000 Revolution. We just talked about that like maybe 5 or 10 minutes ago. I haven't received my review sample yet. You know what I mean? But excited, you know, curious, like the rest of you guys probably are. Cyphonic says, happy afternoon. Warm wishes to all in the snowstorm. Looks nice and sunny there in California. Yep, it is. I mean, you can see like the sun peeking through my shutters there. Are those shutters or roller shades? You know, you can see the reflection on my TV. There's a big window there. So I've got so much light coming from there. Yeah, it's Southern California. You know, like we pay a lot to live here for that sun though. Like just to give you an idea, a 3-bedroom condo with a shared wall, about 1,900 square feet, rents for about $4,900. Time for drink number 2. This is a new favorite, Tangerine. Big fan of this. And for those of you that haven't seen, we open these cans the audiophile way. What you do is, you know, this part right here that snaps down, we put our thumb over that as we open it and it dampens the crack. Because us audiophiles, we don't like loud cracking noises. We got a little sensitive baby ears. I'm not making fun of you guys. It's me. I hate the sound of cans cracking open. Where'd I leave off? This guy's screen name is YouTube account user. That's great. He says, hey, it's because of you that I got the Arendelle 1723 monitors. Those dual 8s are insane. You mean the 1528 monitors? Because the 1723, I never reviewed the 1723 monitors, only the 1723 bookshelf. Either way, congrats. Congrats. Arendelle gives a level of build quality for the money that's exceptional. I'm glad I could be of help, you know. Oh man, that's a tough username. Let's see if I could do this. To Madam. I'm Madam. Says, to Madam, I'm Adam. Okay, got it. Adam here. Love the channel and vibe. Low-tech friend needs a remote setup and wanted simple boombox, but I thought simple system, trying Dolly Spector 2s, used, waiting to arrive. Okay. Thinking WIM Ultra Amp, but maybe separates, thoughts. So for like regular friends, I like to recommend shit that is simple and is going to work no matter what. So if I try to get them like an amp, I try to get them something with HDMI ARC so they can connect it to their TV also. And it's just mindless. It's just always on. It's always going to work. And I usually get one of those little Class D amps and I just tuck them behind their media console. So what I'll do, what I used to do for my friends is a RSL IA 255.1 and then an HDMI ARC extractor. You could buy those on Amazon for like 20 bucks. It's a little box like this big that turns HDMI ARC into analog so you can connect it to like a cheap amp. And then I'll just use a cheap set of speakers for them and they're usually super happy. Like any cheap set of speakers, like really anything, you know, I haven't really reviewed cheap speakers in a while. Like, what did I give my last friend? No, he had my old PSP Imagine Minis. The other one bought my full Calcora 806s. But either way, yeah, that setup with cheap speakers will be way better than most soundbars. So if that amp you're gonna get for them doesn't have HDMI ARC, just buy one of those HDMI ARC extractors on Amazon. I made a whole video about them, and I linked to an upgrade pic in a pinned comment or in the description box. You might want to check that out. If you search how to add HDMI ARC to any amp on YouTube, my video should come up. Joan Frederick, what's up? She says Blue Jean cables. Yeah, Blue Jean makes good stuff. I used to have a pair of Blue Jeans. I gave them to a friend though. Chris says, I was at Upscale Audio, great retailer. And they use Monoprice speaker stands, the steel ones, for all their stand mount speakers outside of aesthetics. Does spending more get you more for stands? Kind of, yes. So this is what you got to know about those cheap speaker stands. They ring like hell. So you got to fill them. And then there's a lot of QC issues, right? They're like, I remember my buddy bought a set of like Pangea stands, which are like same quality as Monoprice, honestly. And they were like a 3-pole stand. Each pole was a different height, just by like a few millimeters. And so as a result, the top plate was like twisted compared to the bottom plate and like crooked just slightly, but enough that when you put the speaker on it, it looked funky. So QC is not going to be that great, but in a situation like that, you would just return them, you know what I mean? And hope the replacement is better. More expensive stands use thicker gauge metal that doesn't ring as much. There are build quality improvements. Now, does that affect the sound? I don't know, bro. What Hi-Fi did a whole article on reviewing speaker sounds and talked about how they impact the sound. They talked about how speaker stands impacted the attack of speakers and all kinds of shit. It read like absolute bullshit. I'll say this. I have heard stands make a difference. I have. For example, my Platimons, I have the stands, and with their stands, bass is tighter, a little bit quicker and a little bit more articulate compared to me just using my generic stands. So stands can make a difference, but you know, at the same time, like, I just buy based on aesthetics and budget is my advice. Because like everything makes a difference, in my opinion, for this hobby. Everything. You wear a hoodie versus a t-shirt when you listen is going to make a difference. But it's like, how many hairs do you want to split, you know? How much do you want to drive yourself crazy obsessing over this stuff? I think if it's a minor thing, which stands I would say are minor, just buy based on aesthetics and budget. Let me drink some water. We got a loaded question coming up. Jamester says, it's Jamester one full. That one full part, I don't understand. Jamster. Anyway, he's saying, weird question, I know, but do you think the term Chi-Fi is racist? No, I don't. I don't think it's racist at all. Because every time I've heard it used, it's been in proper context. Like if someone says Fosse Audio is Chi-Fi, this is factual. It is. It's the company is headquartered in China. The product is made in China. It's literally Chi-Fi, right? So like that's like if there was a word for like I don't know, like I'm trying to think like what's similar. Like it's just because China shortened to chai rhymes with high, and we say hi-fi, so like it just fits really good, you know? I'm trying to think of like there's no other country really where you can have that same play on words, but that's essentially what it is. It's a play on words. Are some people going to use that phrase with some like disdain because they're a little bit snobby? Sure. That doesn't mean there's hatred in their heart. You know what I mean? You know, I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't think that's racist at all. But I still use the word retard. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know how much you value my opinion based on that, right? I personally don't believe what someone says is that big of a deal. Does that make sense? Hear me out. hear me out, because I had this debate with a friend. He said he thought his manager at work was a little bit racist, right? And I asked him, I said, has he ever treated you different? He said, no. I said, is he the one who hired you? And he's like, yeah, actually, he did my interview and he's the one that hired me. I said, okay, so here's a philosophical question. Let's say my friend's right. Let's say his manager really is racist towards the race that my friend is. In his mind and in his heart. He just hates my friend's people. If he never treats my friend any differently, doesn't matter. Now, understandably, it's not good to have hatred in your heart, right? But doesn't matter. It's like an interesting philosophical question, right? But that wasn't really your question. You were just asking if I thought the term chi-fi was racist. No, I've literally never heard anyone use that phrase at all out of context. Every time they've used it, they have been using it correctly, referring to inexpensive Chinese products like your Fosse's, your Dukes, Aima, which are literally all tri-fi. Just kind of like these quick companies that they'll make an amp. 3 months later, they got version 2 of that amp. You know what I mean? Half of them, the power supply burns up or they kind of fry. Like I know reviewers that have had like 3 review samples in a row fry, right? It's like, it's tri-fi. What do you expect? You know what I mean? It's not a big deal. China is also capable of making really, really good audio gear too, though, obviously. You know what I mean? Like I use Chinese amps, Kinky Studio. Kinky Studio is made in China and the company's from China, but it's like, it's high-end Chinese stuff. Peter's my first name. I think you put too many zeros there. I like your review of the speaker that go for $25,000 that has 3 sweat settings on the tweeter. You're referring to the Atome Sirocco 1.24. It's $2,400, not $25,000. Yeah, it's a great speaker. That's a really good speaker. Old guy says, thank you for the shout out. Of course, bro. Peter corrected himself. Not 25,000. LOL. 2,500. They're actually 2,400. But yeah. It's a really good speaker. I liked it a lot. Mike B 9740 says, yup. Oh, okay. He's the guy who said the SVS SB3000R was really good and that there was a lot of tech behind it and I was going to like it. And I said, if you have more information, share. He's saying, yeah, he heard dual SB5000s at a store in PA. Very impressed. Based on that, he ordered one for Pure HT. It smooshed the REL 1510, which they also had there. I have not heard the SB3000s too new. Okay. I mean, that doesn't surprise me, bro. Like the 5000 is, what is it, like 2000 watt RMS sub? That's an extreme duty subwoofer. You know what I mean? Where REL is over here making SQ subs. SQ subs are never going to be the output per dollar champ. They're not going to win that fight. The answer for having more bass out of SQ subs is to have more subs. You know what I mean? All right. Ben says, will you give Ed a shout out for me if he's still on? I already gave him a shout out, Ben. I did a whole thing. If you want me to say something specific, I don't know, but I already gave him a shout out. We can't be redundant here. Daniel Walsh says, any experience with Omega System single driver speaker? Lewis, the owner, answers the phone and responds to emails. Gotta love that. Okay, kind of like Odyssey Audio. I'm not familiar with that. Let me see if we could do a little quick Google, but I'm not a... That sounds like Odyssey Audio. And again, brands like that, usually those owner-operated brands where the owner makes everything, they don't need reviews, you know? They're doing just fine. They're selling everything they're making. Oh, these look nice. Let's see here. This one. What's this one? I like this one. This one looks good. Sold out. It's inexpensive too. Baby Alnico monitor in rustic hickory with vintage tan grills. Yeah, that's a great looking speaker. If that $13.95, he might have cleared him out. If that was for the pair, that's a really good price. Yeah, this company's got really fair pricing. A lot of his stuff sold out though. Yeah, wow. Everything's sold out. What the frick? Can I sort by? So he's got 65 products? Let's price high to low. Maybe we'll find some stuff in stock. Yeah, even his most expensive speaker is only $3,200. This Omega guy is very reasonable with his prices. Yeah, that's great. Check this brand out, guys. If you're looking for a single driver speaker, this stuff looks good. Really good looking stuff. Everything is sold out though. So yeah, it's looking like they're just like Odyssey Audio, where like you're gonna get on a list. You know what I mean? If you want one, you're gonna get on a list, and however long it takes them to make them is however long it takes, and you know, you get it when you get it. Yeah, those look great, Daniel, but I have not heard them. Give me a second. Let me get a toot in here. How long have we been going for? Just about an hour. Not bad. Guys, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, please. It does help. Michael Fronefield says, recently picked up Hagel. I love the people that use their full government name on YouTube. Michael Fronefield. Like that's probably your real name, I'm guessing. I have a friend, he uses his full government name on OnlyFans. Like when he subscribes to like girls. So I'm like, what if you like subscribe to someone like you kind of know? He's like, so what? I'm like, you're freaking wild. Anyway, Michael says, recently picked up a Hagel H120 on closeout. I'm blown away by what a 75 watt integrated is doing in my system. Yeah, look, quality of watts are just as important as the amount of watts, if not more important, right? Yeah, that doesn't surprise me one bit, you know? I just reviewed the, I haven't published it yet, so this is a sneak peek for you guys. The Atoll In80. This is an 80 watt per channel amp, nothing crazy. It doesn't look fancy. Oh my God. Oh my God, it competes with stuff double the price, 100%. Oh my God, it is so good, so refined. I couldn't believe it. Peter says the Tom Sirocco 1.24, very interesting review you did. Don't like crack. Soda can crack. Yeah. He doesn't like the crack of the can either. Yeah. Try what I'm saying. Try my method. Put your thumb over that part that snaps down and press just a little bit, enough to dampen it, you know, and then open it and you'll see the whole sound will be dampened. Oh, Eric hasn't replied? Yeah, bro, I'm telling you guys. I fucking told you guys. This company uses bots. That's why I don't fuck with them. That's why I don't be reviewing their shit. I just fucking talked to them about it too. And they promise they don't do it no more. But as you guys can see, the shit is still happening. It's fucking crazy, dude. And you notice he didn't use the company's name is because I have a word filter. You cannot use the company's name. My word filter will automatically like flag it and remove it. It's fucking crazy the shit this company does. Like honestly, I would fucking never review these people's shit. All right, we gotta go back. We're gonna fucking ban this motherfucker. Yeah, I fucking knew it. I knew this was a fucking bot. Guys, I'm a child of the internet. I come from the days of MSN, America Online. I know what a fucking 14.4 modem is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know bots, like, right away, bro. Bots, trolls, I can fucking smell them. I know when a motherfucker's not real. Let's see if this guy's ever posted on my shit. I'll bet you his other posts have been the same fucking question. That's how these bots operate, bro. I swear this company is so fucking shady. Fucking pisses me off. I think I gotta go to my settings. Let's go to my YouTube studio. Settings. Permit community moderation probably. User management. Hidden users. Dun, dun, dun. Let's add his bitch ass there. That's crazy. It says no matching users found. So it's like he might have already removed his account, or he could be using some kind of like proxy. Swear to God, dude, I fucking hate this company. If any of you guys are techie and you know how I can like find this guy, because look, his username, if you try to search it on YouTube, nothing comes up. Maybe I fucked up. Let me try again. Yeah, I type it into like so I can block him. It says no matching users found. That's like really annoying, dude. Let me see if I can block him from the chat right here. Yup. I could ban him right from here. Hell yeah. Hide user on this channel. Let me make sure I don't have the wrong person. Yup, Eric B1S4I. Hide user from channel. Yup. Fuck you, Eric. Whoever the fuck you are, stupid ass, fake ass bot. He will never be able to comment on my channel again. The way that feature works, he'll be able to see my videos. He'll be able to leave a comment, but YouTube will auto hide them. No one will see them. I won't see them. You guys won't see them. So annoying, dude. Thank you for reminding me. I forgot about him. Thank you for reminding me. Who reminded me? DTD reminded me. Thank you. Yep. Also, he said, thanks for answering my question. Thoughts, maybe it could be done if you set the integrated amp to max volume and then use the preamp for control. No, bro, you can't. You can't do that. No, you need home theater bypass. Trust me. You don't want to do that. To Madam, I'm Adam. Great play on words. Says, thanks, appreciate that idea for HDMI ARC. Yeah, no problem. Again, just you search for my video in my description box or in the pinned comment. I left an upgraded pick that is not more expensive. It's still, I think it's like $9 more. That will get it done for you. Peter's my first name. Try new diet crack. All the same great taste without the unwanted calories. My original all-purpose joke. Have been saying it for years. How many kids do you have, Peter? That was a big dad joke. I know you got kids. You can't make jokes like that until you have children. Something happens when a man has children. The jokes just become cheesy. I love it. I love it. James just says, I only asked because another audio YouTuber called me a bigot for using that term. Yeah, bro. What are you going to do? Who was it? Don't you know, if someone said it, you know what I mean? Like, actually, you know what is better? Let's not talk about people. That's okay. Look, Jamester. In this world we live in, some people are more focused on politics. They're more, their mind is more geared towards like social justice, if you will, than others. And you know, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Because I'll give you an example. I came home one day from a trip. This guy's blocking my driveway. I'm like, hey, move your car. He didn't move his car. I tripped on him. I got loud. You know, I got crazy on him. Like, I scared the shit out of this motherfucker. Then he finally moved his car. Turned out he was my neighbor's friend, right? A week later, tell me why. My neighbor comes out and he starts telling me I'm racist. I'm like, what makes you think I'm racist? He's like, you know, the way you tripped on my friend, this and that, because he was Asian. I looked at him, I'm like, bro, do you think I care what race someone is when their car is like blocking my driveway? I didn't say anything about the guy's race. I didn't even remember the dude was Asian until my neighbor said something. And then I'm like, why would you think I would be concerned with his race when his car is blocking my driveway? How, like, where's the connection there, bro? And he just looks at me and he goes, Asian hate's a thing, man, you know? And I was like, you know, I suppose it is. If that's a topic you're focused on and interested in, you're probably going to try to like look for that anywhere you want. But I don't give a fuck what race someone is if they're blocking my driveway. I just want their car gone. Fucking idiot. So yeah, bro, some people are just more political. You can't do nothing about that. And you know, there's a saying that's been real popular recently online. And that saying is, you found it racist, I found it funny. That's why I'm happier than you, right? It's not that deep. It's not that fucking deep. Not everything has to be political. Not everything has to have like a motive behind it. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, like I used the word bitch in my last live stream, bro. And like a couple people were like, that's misogynistic. And I'm like, do you even like, what is it? Like, do you know what misogyny means? That means you hate women. Guys, have you ever met a man that hates women? I never met a man in my life that hates women. It's literally like in our DNA to love them. Like, and like want to be there for them and like cherish them and protect them is like inside of us, that desire. And just because I used the word bitch, someone said I was being sexist. Like, all you can do is just look at that as like, oh, that person, you know, they're just more political and, you know, they take words more seriously and it's their choice. You know, that's okay. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Everyone has the right to believe whatever they want to believe, Jamester. You know, there's people that think all kinds of things are offensive, my bro. Nothing you can do about that. Nothing at all. Peter, that diet crack comment, that was a good one. I'm not gonna lie, that was a good one. Let me get some more beverage here, guys. Yeah, and you know, Jamester, like I got friends that are like more sensitive to stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like you could still be friends with people just because you have different opinions on what's offensive and what's not. Like that's okay. You know what I mean? That is like totally okay. Chris Veltman says the Inland Empire or Big Bear is a lot cheaper, but you have to trade the ocean for the mountains because the 91 doesn't just suck. It's going to cost you $500 a month. And it sucks. Yeah, that fucking getting on it from the 241 is fucking AIDS, bro. Oh my God. I have some friends that live out there. Even on the weekend, I go visit them. Like, shit, dude. Sometimes I'm in that line for like 15 minutes. And that's not even bad during rush hour. That could be like a 35, 40-minute line sometimes. It's nuts. Karsten says, sorry, not trying to be a shill here, but I was just window shopping online and Verify has your hidden gem Caldera 10 on sale right now, 2 for $358. That's not being a shill. You sharing the sale with people. That's okay. We actually have a section in my Discord where people could share sales and deals that are going on. That's fine. That's a great deal. $358 for dual subs. That's great. Papa's talking to old guy. That's got nothing to do with me. Okay. DTD says, if you fear saying Chi-Fi will be taken the wrong way, use Fun-Fi. At least I feel like all those products bring fun to the hobby. Yeah, that's you can use that as an alternative. You know what I mean? It just depends how much you care what people think or not. You know, like personally, I don't care what people think because I've been called everything. Like, guys, one time I fired this guy because he was stealing from the company, right? I'm in management, right? He was literally stealing from the company. And the company I worked at the time had 25 employees total. And he's like, you're a racist. That's why you're firing me. And I looked at him and I was like, what? Why would you say I'm racist? And he says, I'm the only guy here that's from China. And I looked at him and I said, Chris, his name was Chris. I was like, you know, there's like over 200 sovereign nations in the world. We're a company of only 25 employees. I cannot employ someone from like every country in the world, you know? But also I would remind you, I'm the one that hired you. I was his hiring manager. I did his interview. I said, Chris, don't you think if I was racist, I wouldn't have hired you in the first place? You stole from the company, like thousands of dollars. Like I'm not even calling the cops. Like I'm not even prosecuting. I'm just terminating you. That's it. I'm just trying to part ways amicably. Do you understand that? And then he looked at me and goes, I'm sorry, you're right. I don't know why I said that. So people just sometimes be saying shit, you know, for no reason. It's what it is. Unless the person is my friend or someone I love, I don't care if I offend someone. You cannot live your life worrying what strangers think of you. What strangers think of you is none of your business, even, I would say. FunFi is a good alternative, though, you know? Because it kind of, it's a little snooty, but I get it. I get it. Serge says, do you know anything about DIY tube traps? Is it as simple as just getting concrete form and filling with safe and sound? Bro, what are you talking about? Bass traps? What's a tube trap? I don't know what that is. So I guess no, I don't know anything about them. I'm sorry, dude. I don't. Yeah, it sounds like you're trying to DIY maybe some acoustic room treatment, perhaps. I respect that. Whoa, that's crazy. Like 15 comments just loaded immediately. And then Chris says, you only get perfect weather 10 months out of the year. Yeah. R Walker 796 says, Nemo, how would you feel about the use of a Totem Tribe 5 with 2 REL S850s and a REL HT1510? I don't know what a Tribe 5 is. Let me look real quick. If it's the one I think it is, you should be good. But let me just double check. I'm not super familiar with... I know the Totem speakers. I don't know all their names. Totem Tribe 5. Oh, the on wall. I have not heard that one specifically, but there is a guy in my Discord. He has the Tribe Tower, and he has used them with REL's T9X and S510 and dual S510s, and he loves it. He says it's a fantastic combination. So the Totem sound and the REL sound should go together beautifully. But I have not heard the on-wall versions you have. I did see it at a trade show, like Exploded View, and it's built like a tank. Like, wow. Totem does not play games when it comes to build quality. Daniel's talking about Omega's got an email list. If you want to buy their speakers. Yeah, see, Daniel, that means they don't need a review if they're that popular. HJC, what's up, dude? He says, I second that on Chinese Hi-Fi. Recently got into Eversolo. Much better than the Blue Sound, in my opinion. The T8 is a great streamer. I guess it depends which one. I never heard the T8. I know the DMP-A6, in my opinion, is not better than the Blue Sound, but it sounds like you've got the next model up that costs quite a bit more. That's a hell of a screen name. Straul Sundismine Hamat. He just put a smiley face. Probably laughing at one of my rants. Oh, it looks like Eric ended up responding, but yeah, too late, I guess. I can't even see it. Well, let's see if I can. He said, you're paranoid, bro. Maybe I am. Maybe I am, but that company used so many bots on my channel. You know? Eric, if you're still out there, you want to hop in my free Discord and prove you're a real person, I'll unblock you, but I have to be vigilant. You know what I mean? This company's been known for using bots, and I can't be having bots on my channel. Also, you know what? Fuck you. I don't appreciate the insult telling me I'm paranoid. That's not paranoia. That's called vigilance, bro. You know what? Don't join my Discord. I don't care. I don't want people like that. You know what I mean? You could have easily just hopped in my Discord and DM'd me and been like, hey, bro, I was busy. Sorry I didn't respond. I am a real person. And I would have like unblocked you. But like, you kind of being an ass now. Brian Morgan says, "Hey Nemo, would be very curious to see you get your hands on a pair of DWX Supremes and do a comparison to the standard. I don't have the standards anymore, and when there's options like that, I prefer to review the cheapest one. That's what I prefer. You know. Hey, what's up? ABX Audiophile says, "Yo, bro, good to see you in there, man." And guys, ABX Audiophile is another YouTube channel. Check him out if you don't know about him. Good channel, good content. I believe he is the only hi-fi reviewer that is a registered charity. So he does a lot of good work for the community and stuff like that. If you want to know more about that charitable cause, check him out, you know. David C. Navis says, "Gregory R. Block, I kid you not, used to make fun of," I don't know who that is, "make fun of me for still having my middle initial on all my accounts. I don't know why either, LOL. Maybe an old guy thing. This was back on Usenet." Oh, you're talking about using your full government name? Yeah, it's just most people don't do that, bro. Most people want a little privacy, David. But you know, if you don't mind, I guess. I mean, whatever. It's not a big deal. Peter's my first name says, "Referencing what you were saying about culture, race, and politics, Tim Dillon did a nice section yesterday on American division over politics." I don't know who Tim Dillon is. Yeah, but that's cool. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm not like I try to just be like a regular good person. So I don't consume a lot of content that's divisive, right? Because a lot of like political messaging, if you pay attention on either side of the aisle, all it's trying to tell you is to hate the other people. That's what it's all trying to say. These other people are wrong, they're crazy, and you should hate them. And it frames them all like the craziest in the world. Now, there's crazies on both sides, but that's certainly not the bulk of each group. You know what I mean? There's I've met a lot of great people on either sides of the aisle, and I refuse to consume any content that tells me that I have to hate someone just because they disagree with me on some kind of stance. You know, that's like if I say I think SUVs are great, and let's say Jamester comes in here and goes, "No, Nemo, I think SUVs are terrible." It would be crazy for me to hate him for that, right? And it would be crazy for Jamester to hate me for that. We just disagree on something. It's not that deep. It's not, me and Jamester are not going to run the world ever. We are never going to have any real influence over worldly events. What we think ain't that powerful. It's just not. I feel like this is a big lie. Like if we all band together, we can affect some change. I don't believe in that. I don't. Just clean your home, respect your body, treat those around you with kindness, be a good person, don't lie. Yeah, that's my answer. ABX Audiophile says, "Nemo, you ever get any ATC speakers in room yet?" Yeah, I reviewed the ATC SCM11. Perfectly neutral without being soulless. Fantastic. And I bought it after the review even. And then the ATC SCM19 I reviewed later. That's like a bigger version. That had a little bit of extra mid-range prominence. It wasn't quite as neutral as the ATC SCM11. And for my personal taste, I love the 11 a little bit more. But that's a company that if you care about parts quality, holy crap, dude. They make their own drivers and they are overbuilt. They are so beefy and their speakers have so much mass to them. And I think that ATC SCM11 is, if you love neutrality, if you're of the belief that like a great hi-fi product should not color the sound, yet all the neutral speakers you've heard are kind of lifeless or boring, that ATC SCM11 is what I call perfectly neutral, in that it's perfectly neutral, yet still has soul to it, still retains the emotion of the music. It's a great speaker. I'm sure some people might still find it boring if you're someone who loves really warm and really rich sound, for example. You might find any neutral speaker to not be up your alley, but the ATC SCM11 is the perfect neutral reference in my opinion. Jamester says, word, thank you for the reply. I'd rather not name the YouTuber. Yeah, no, I prefer you don't too, because it might be someone I'm like friends with, you know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, that's fine. We don't need to know who it is, yeah. Rancho Relaxo says the 10 is horrible too. What's it, the 10 what? There's no context, Rancho. What are you saying? The 10 what is horrible too? I don't know what that means. Captain Afov. Hi, Nemo. Had peaks at 30 hertz. Room treatment, speaker placement, room correction, but nothing helped. 30 hertz peak was there. What finally helped is a notch filter at 30 hertz to be a DSP. Am I sacrificing too much? Depends, you know what I mean? Like, if the DSP fixed the problem that was like really bothering you and you didn't notice it taking anything away, then that's fine, you know? I think that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't worry about it. You know what I mean? You could try turning it off to see if, you know, you're losing any imaging or staging, for example, but simple notch filter, you're certainly not overusing DSP. I think that's fine. Let's risk it on another pouch. Hopefully this one doesn't kill me. Middle Earth says he used to commute from the mountaintop in Aguanga to Costa Mesa. Well, I don't know where Aguanga is, bro. Holy crap. 200-mile round trip. Jeez. Yeah, that is a brutal trip. Keith Davis says, have you ever auditioned any Bel Canto integrated amps? No. No, I haven't. Vladimir Martinez says, what are your audio upgrade plans for 2026? None. I don't like endlessly upgrade my system. I've been happy with my system for a long time. And I oftentimes go years without any change, you know? I don't have any plans. I'm not like a big consumer like that. I believe the goal of the hobby is to get to a place where you really love your system. And I've done that. I think some guys like just tinkering and experiencing new things, and that's okay too. If that's what makes some people happy, then they should, you know, tinker. But my itch for curiosity is satisfied by the channel. My main system, the last change I made to it was replacing my Aries 2 DAC with the Live U DAC in DDC. Other than that, I still use the Kinky Studio preamp and mono blocks, Bucard S400 Mark IIs. Like, that's still my main system, you know? Kevin says, awesome review of the REL S550 and S850. I'm curious, were you able to observe any difference in the 850 since it's now being powered with a linear power supply versus switching in the 550? So I'm not well versed in what that's supposed to do. So any difference I heard, I just chalked up to the size difference, you know? And some of those differences I heard, maybe it was the linear amp instead. I don't know, right? Like, I'm not super scientific when it comes to products. So like when, for example, like if I compare two speakers and I'm like, oh, like this one has more powerful bass. Like if you ask me why, like I'd be like, I don't know. I didn't design the speaker. I don't know what's inside. I just like tell people what stuff sounds like. I can't really attribute it to anything. I'm not an engineer by any means, nor am I engineer minded. It's just not my skill set, you know? So yeah, it's certainly possible that I heard a difference and it just maybe I chalked it up to the size difference, you know? Because that's what I said in the video. I said every difference the S850 has is everything you would expect from something larger. I couldn't tell you how much the amp contributes to that. I know that amp has a tremendous amount of headroom, but I didn't come close to its limits. I probably wasn't even using half its power. Mark Pro says, enjoy the videos. Bought Mission LX3s, Mark II bookshelves, loudspeakers. Had you had a chance to review them? No. I tried to review Mission speakers a while ago. They're like really nice, but they tried to bring like contracts into it and stuff. And my take on that is, since I do the review for free, I don't sign contracts. In my opinion, a contract is okay to be introduced when money's changing hands. Like if I was charging them for the review, then yes, they have a right to put a contract in front of me and ask me to agree to certain terms and conditions. But if they're not paying me, why would I sign a contract? It doesn't make sense. So we couldn't move forward, but they're very nice people and their products seem really nice. I know a lot of people like their products. That's no hate, you know, on them at all. You know, they have a right to run their company how they like, you know. It just wasn't in line with how I do things. Matt says, hey Nemo, do you listen to hip hop? Any favorite artists? Kind of, but like nothing really new. Like new hip hop's pretty shit. But I'll listen to like old hip hop, like Styles of Beyond, Army of the Pharaohs, shit like that. But like, I don't even know what new rap is, honestly. Yeah, like the last time I like tapped into like modern rap, it was all mumble rap, and I was like, fuck this. But I listen to some of that old school underground shit. I like it. Like Put On by Jeezy. That's the song I used to like test phase on subwoofers. I like that song a lot. Oh, I didn't go all the way on my playlist. So yeah. I mean, I like old school hip hop. Peter saying 100%. Mark is saying from Canada, getting a lot of hate from Trump. Again, guys, I'm not that political. So like, if you leave a political comment that's kind of nuanced, I probably won't understand what you're trying to say because I don't have the context. I have no idea. I do not consume that kind of content. I don't think it's good for you to consume that kind of content. I think a lot of it's a psyop, and I think it's designed to make people crazy and radical because I've seen it happen. If you guys want to consume that content, by all means do it, but I kindly ask you don't try to engage with me about too much of that stuff. Sean B says, I don't get why people block their license plate online. Not like everyone on the road can't see it. The only reason I could see is, so like if you're just a regular person and you're not in the public eye, it's just a weird thing to do. But like, let's say like this started originally back in the modified Honda era. So let's say you had a modified Honda and you had a bunch of rare JDM parts on it. It was motor swapped, you know, and those cars are so easy to steal. Well, your license plate can tell thieves the general area where that car is, right? So it would be more likely that your car will get stolen and stripped down. So that's how most of it started, you know? And I think what's happened now is a lot of people just do it and they don't understand why it started. Like if you're just selling a Toyota Camry online, you don't need to block out the license plate. No one fucking cares. If I posted a picture, say in my YouTube community section of my car, I probably would block out the license plate because I don't want anyone to use that to try to find out where I live. Now, can you do that with a license plate? No, not really. But if you got a buddy that works at the DMV or you know how to use the dark web, you probably could, right? And I don't want anyone showing up at my door. Also, I don't want some crazy person trying to vandalize my car just because I didn't like some speaker or something. There's weirdos out there, man. But for like normal people that are not in the public eye and your car is like nothing special, like there's no reason someone would steal your car. Yeah, there's no reason to do it. There isn't. Mike says, unfortunately, also today, having a strong opinion is costing people their lives. Just live happy life and be a good person. Stay safe. Yeah. Yeah, man. You know what I mean? That's everywhere in the world, dude. You know? It shouldn't be like that, but it is. I can't change that. You can't change that. James ABX says, awesome. I just picked up a pair of SCM 20s and loving them, bro. Neutral, mid-range, magic. And just a nice dash of soul. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, ATC makes good stuff. So you already know it's built well. Papa Bane says, thanks for the live, Nemo. People starting to talk politics on here, so I'm out, especially people from other country. Take care. All good, bro. See, I told you guys it's divisive, man. It's divisive, you know? It's not good, bro. Kevin says, I can also recall the end of your S550 review. You mentioned Rel's reference line. I've never auditioned them. But is it safe to assume that the law of diminishing return doesn't apply to Rel subs? I don't think the law of diminishing return is real for the most part, bro. I think some stuff is just priced wrong. That's what I think. Because every time I've experienced a more expensive product, it makes sense. There's gains. Those gains are obvious. Now, that's not to, like, I'm sure there's some subwoofers out there that are like $20,000. And you listen to them and you're like, why? Well, that's just a product that's priced wrong. That's not diminishing return. There's just a disconnect with what the product actually does and what the company thinks it's worth. Same with speakers, same with amplifiers, right? Now, when we get into like stupidly priced esoteric statement pieces, that's another story. You know, these amplifiers that are like limited edition, and they have like 80 hours of machine, like CNC machine time on just the chassis, and they sell for like $250,000. Yeah, like those are probably equivalent to like amps that are like 80K or 70K. You know what I mean? But for most of the stuff most of us can afford, I don't think any of us are in the shopping category that we have to worry about diminishing return. Under $10,000, I haven't noticed it. I'm not saying it doesn't exist necessarily. Well, I did say that, but I haven't noticed this topic of diminishing returns. You know what I mean? There's also different reasons stuff costs more, right? Like sometimes it's the heritage that comes with a product. Sometimes it's knowing that the company has 20 years of spare parts. Sometimes it's knowing it was handmade by one guy in a workshop in Italy, right? But up to about $10,000, I haven't noticed any diminishing returns on any product. Peter says more speaker companies should make the electronic switch for the tweeters like Atome does on the Sirocco. Yeah, I'd love to see more of that. Middle Earth says they were referring to the Interstate 10 that runs from Santa Monica to Florida. I don't understand that. Maybe he's talking to someone else. Captain is asking if I've ever heard Peachtree. I have not. So he paired his BMRs with the latest Carina X model from Peachtree, and it looks like he's pretty happy. I've heard good things about Peachtree, but I've never heard their stuff. Novalicious says, not sure if someone else asked already, but would you get the bass module for the Platamon? If you're asking if I would buy it, no, because I don't like floor standing speakers. If you're asking if I would review it, yes, I'm supposed to review it. I just keep getting busy. I'm going to review it at some point, yeah. Hey, we got Steve-O says, morning from Australia. Morning. Good morning, sir. Good morning. Serge says, currently I have the Revel Performa F22, F228B. Also like them, but I'm in a space where I'm eking out every bit of performance from my system and interested in moving on the Magico A5. Any experience with Magico? Yes and no. Let me look up the Magico A5 just to make sure we're on the same page. I think that's the bookshelf. No, it's the little tower. £180 tower, geez. Yeah, bro, look, I'll tell you this. I've heard them at shows. Very sterile sound to my ears every time I've heard Magico. And everyone I've talked to that's been in the room has said the same thing. So I know it's not just me. But, Serge, the Revels you own currently are speakers people also describe as sterile. So that just might be the sound you like. And if that's the case, there's nothing wrong with that. Given the price, I would strongly encourage a dealer demo, you know? Like, let's see what those cost. $24,000 a pair. Yeah. Dealer, just do a dealer demo. If a dealer's not close by, hop on a plane and go visit one. You can afford it. Hear them first, you know, and make sure your amplification is up to the task. You know, ask all your questions. Like those two speakers are described similarly, you know, so I think that's your taste. You know, so yeah, like you're on the right track, right? It's like if someone's like, I like the Bucard S400s, I want to upgrade? What about the what are they called? Jeez, the Classic 3.1s. Who makes the Classic 3.1s? Why am I drawing a blank on their name? Anyways, you guys know what I'm talking about. The Classic 3.1s. Yeah, those speakers are cut from a similar cloth. The Classic 3.1s would definitely be a logical upgrade from the Bucard S400. And I think Magico is a logical upgrade in terms of sound, as would be Focal, by the way, or YG Acoustics, right? For anyone who likes that Revel BE sound, right? Mike says, question on powering a set of KEF R11s. Hold on, guys. I need another drink. I'll come to your question in a second. I'm out of both my drinks. All right, so Serge was asking about, no, not Serge, sorry, Michael, about powering the KEF R11. Currently using a Yamaha RX A1080, 120 on the spec sheet, 2-channel. How much am I hindering these speakers since they are rated 15 to 300? You can mostly ignore what the speakers can handle. You can run 1,000 watts of them if you want to. Not sustained, but let me look up your amp. I'm not familiar with that one specifically. It's loading, website's loading. It's an old model that's no longer available. Let me ask what its price used to be. So it was like in the $1,200 price range. Let me look up your KEF R11s just to remind myself what those cost. And you guys might not like what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's a good rule of thumb, if you will. So yeah, bro, your KEF R11s are $7,000 a pair. You're using an amp that's $1,200. It's pretty easy to see you have very disproportionate pricing. That's not always a guarantee that you've got a bottleneck or you're leaving performance on the table, but it is a good rule of thumb, you know? Because it depends, because there are really inexpensive amps that punch above their weight, like the Choco EMA, like the Atoll N80, but those are rare. You know, most products perform fairly for what they charge, for what they cost. So with bookshelf speakers, I usually tell people it's not insane to match the price of your amp to your bookshelf speakers. It doesn't mean you have to. You don't have to, but it's not a bad idea, right? Like if you have $2,000, $2,500 bookshelf speakers and a $3,000 amp, that's not crazy, you know? You have $7,000 towers. Do you need a $7,000 amp? No, you don't need it. Would they sound great with one? Probably. Could you split the difference and move up to something in the $3,000 range? Yeah. How much performance you're leaving on the table? It's hard to say. It's hard to say, you know, it depends how well they're set up in your room. It depends how sensitive you are to refinement and things like that. Most people who upgrade their amp are pretty happy, you know, but most of us are leaving some room on the table, you know. Like I'm using $6,000 amps with $2,500 speakers. My speakers are obviously the weak point, but I love the sound I have, so I'm happy with it. So it's also okay to be mismatched, but if you're like, no, I want more for my system, yeah, an amp upgrade would be the logical choice. Peter saying he'd rather talk about audio than politics. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're here for. We're here to talk about audio, you know? You know, this is supposed to be a little break from all that stuff that stresses us out, you know? E&E Eric says B&W DB4S sub has no info anywhere. I can get a new one from BB for $900. Is it worth it, or is there something more quality for the price? That subwoofer was originally about $1,800, and I believe it's a sealed 10-inch, and I believe it has about 500 watts. I believe that's RMS. B&W used to call it 1,000 watt, but that's peak. Its true power, I believe, is closer to 500. It was a decent sub, but I will say I saw a lot of them on the used market that had failed. Do with that information what you will. Do with that information what you will. I don't know anything about how they sound. B&W generally, my opinion is they make a good sub. They're just priced way too high. And I did see a lot of failed units on the used market for that DB4S for one reason or another. Maybe it was user error. I don't know. I'm not trying to slander them. Nobody sue me, you know. Middle Earth, that was a reference to the stream comment above that did not make sense to you. Out of context. Oh, thank you. Okay, that makes more sense now. Search says YG and Focal, literally what chat says. They watching your content, ? Yeah. So I think when you say that's what chat says, you mean Chat GPT? Yeah. AI scrapes everyone's data, including mine. And I've seen it happen where it happened. So someone commented and said, hey, I want to upgrade my Bucar S400. Chat GPT says I should consider the Spendor Classic 3.1. What do you think? And I got so mad because I'm the one who said that. My video is the only place on the internet where someone says the Spendor Classic 3.1 is a great upgrade for S400 Mark II owners. So ChatGPT literally scraped my data, gave it to that person, and then that person came back and asked me what I thought about ChatGPT's answer. It was really frustrating, man. You know what I mean? It was really frustrating, but like, yes, that happens. That's a real thing. Everything I say in my video, GPT tracks all of it. Google tracks all of it. Gemini, those are all keywords. They use all of that data for training. Yes. Yeah. Like you might ask GPT a question and its answer might be something Andrew Robinson said. It might be something, Thomas and Serio said. You ask it a setup question, right? It might give you an answer because someone like Youthman talked about it. It is what it is. It's the world we live in. Captain says, do you listen your system or any product for review being high? I think you're asking me if I smoke weed. The answer is no. No, I don't. Now, in my 20s, like a lot of people, I dabbled and I get it. You know what I mean? You smoke a little pot, everything sounds amazing. It's got some little like psychoacoustic properties, but marijuana use is counterproductive to how I choose to live my life. I believe in most people, including myself, it takes away our drive and motivation. It can make us lazy long term, and it can even make some of us very irritable. So I don't believe God put us here to be under the influence of anything. But no hate to anyone who likes to partake. Do what you want, but no, I don't do that. Oh, so Mike, the one who asked about the KEF R11 with the inexpensive Yamaha, he's like, yeah, I was originally just pushing some old cheap bookshelf speakers and I just upgraded to these KEFs. Congratulations, brother. Yes, there's definitely more performance on the table available, but you just did a big upgrade, so enjoy it. You don't have to spend more money today. Enjoy your upgrade, and in a year or two, you want to upgrade your amp, go ahead and upgrade your amp. Save money now. You just made a big purchase, stack. It's always good to save money. If you have plenty of it, if you've got 50 or more thousand cash reserve, not counting investments, not counting 401k, you got 50k or more liquid, and you want to upgrade your amp, by all means. But if you don't, save. And I just came to that number based on what I think someone who has $7,000 speakers should have in cash reserve. You know what I'm saying? That's just my standard. It doesn't have to be your standard, just to be fair. But you guys know, you come here for audio advice, sometimes you get financial advice, right? I'm a strong believer that a man should do his part to ensure that he can put himself in a secure financial position where possible. I think that's important. I think that brings a lot of happiness and joy to most people. Novalicious says, Nemo, do you think the live monos could drive the 1528 Big Daddy Towers? Easily. And in a large room, would you pair the E15 HP2 duals or REL S850 for 7275 music, movies? Thanks, bro. Yeah, I think those live monos have like 400 watts of 4 ohms. They shouldn't have any trouble at all. I obviously haven't tested it, so that could be a great question to ask live directly. And whether or not I would pair with the E15s, HP2s, or REL S850s duals. So look, dude, the Rhythmic E15 HP2 is much larger. So if you're more theater dominant, you are going to get a stronger bass region out of the pair of 15-inch Rhythmic E15 HP2s. But if you're music dominant, the REL S850, while it's not going to match the Rhythmic's extension or output capability, being a 12, it is going to give you a little bit more bass texture. It is going to give you a little bit quicker transients around 30 hertz. That's the key difference. So you're going to want to choose based on which one is more important to you. Also, I would say, because you're saying you got a bigger room. Yeah, you have 15 by 25 with 11-foot ceilings. I love the REL S850 and it'll sound phenomenal in that room, but a pair of sealed 12s is a little bit on the small size. It's a little bit on the small side for a big room home theater. You might want to run, if you do go the REL route, you may want to run them left and right, high level plus LFE, and have a Predator 1510 in the back for the like extra LFE support. You know, that's what REL would suggest to you, right? The dual if E15 HP2s would, you know, be pretty epic on their own, and you wouldn't need a third sub. Yeah, if you need more help with that, let me know. But I think that's kind of the difference. And then for the live monos, you know, you can email live to be on the safe side, but I mean, they've got tons of power. I don't imagine they'd have a hard time at all. Pandy911 says, "Hey Nemo, nice to catch you live." I gotta ask, is it like Pandy, like Panda 911, like emergency panda? Or is that like Pandemonium 911 or Pandem 911? Pandem's a body kit company. Pandy says, "Room isn't huge and I don't usually play very loud." I think you hit send too soon because there's no more question. I don't think you asked any other question. Oh, sorry. The question is, I skipped the main question. Pandy says, "Hey Nemo, nice to catch you live. I recently bought the Bucart A10s after wanting them for a year now. Waiting on dual sub 10s to arrive for sense of scale, weight, and punch. Would you recommend standard or deep bass master tunings? Room isn't huge and I don't usually play very loud." Try the deep bass. If it's too much, like if it's like you're like, this is crazy, then use the standard, right? Because sometimes, you know, these DSP subs, when you set them to boost the low, sometimes it's like too much, and you're like, and because you're gonna have two of them, right? So I would try the deep bass first, and if you're like, this is crazy, this is way too much low end, you know, it's just wildly unnatural and not neutral at all, then, you know, switch to the standard. Eric says, "Do companies sue hi-fi reviewers often?" Not often, but it does happen. You know, Tecton, you know, threatened to sue Aaron from Aaron's Audio Corner. There was that other fiasco where that guy reviewed a DAC and the DAC company tried to sue him. Yeah, it's a real thing, dude. Yeah. I mean, you criticize a company, you're potentially getting in the way of their financial earnings, their livelihood. People don't like it when you fuck with their money, you know? And you know, a man should be clear on what he says. The truth is, I don't know if that Bowers & Wilkins DB4S has reliability issues. I don't know. I don't have any firsthand experience. All I know is I did see quite a few of them on the used market that had failed amps or failed drivers. A lot of them had cabinet damage. So maybe it's user error. Maybe the users just dropped them. I don't know, right? Now, if I made the claim that they had a reliability issue, I don't know that. That's unsubstantiated. That could be slander. You know, I don't think Bowers & Wilkins would try to sue me for it, but why would I do that? You know, if I don't know, I don't want to talk out of my ass. Mike says, "Follow up to the receiver question based on your feedback. If I'm only sticking to 3.1, should I just avoid buying a new high channel receiver and go straight for a good 2 to 3 channel amp then?" Are you doing stereo also or just theater? Let me know and I'll give you a recommendation. Peter says, "I like the live and let live, to each their own mindset." Yeah, dude. It's okay. It is okay if someone disagrees with you. I love the Bucart S400 Mark II. If you don't, it's okay. I love that that Zoo Audio Method speaker. Aaron from Aaron's Audio Corner hated it. Guess what? Me and Aaron are cool with each other. We got no problem with that. I don't mind that he dislikes them, and he doesn't mind that I love them. Like, it's all good, you know? Oh, Pandy's saying it's just a nickname. Cool, cool. Yeah, no problem. So Mike is saying he's mostly theater. Okay. If it's mostly theater, you know, so I talked to John Hunter about this from Rel one time because he gets this question a lot. And what he said, because, you know, he knows way more about theater than I do. I'm not a big theater guy, Mike. But John Hunter is. He's much smarter than me and has a lot more experience than me. And he said, you know, and I'm paraphrasing, right? John Hunter said, modern, inexpensive AVRs actually have a very decent processor section these days. You know, where they lack is their, you know, these $800-900 ones is their power section, you know? So a great upgrade path for a lot of these guys is, you know, you start with your, you know, $800 to $1,200 AVR. You add your speakers, you add your Rel sub, whatever. You need to upgrade, add a power amp to that AVR. Okay. Now your mains are getting real good high quality power, and your Rel sub is tapping off that power amp now, a cleaner signal, a more high quality signal, and it's going to upgrade everything. So if your AVR has pre-outs, I would just look for a nice high quality stereo amp and let the AVR continue to power your center channel. It should have plenty of headroom if its entire power supply is just handling center channel duty. You certainly could do, you know, a stereo power amp and a single mono amp in the future for the center, or find a good 3-channel power amp, you know, if you wanted to. But yeah, I would just do that. Johnny says Klipsch 9s are on a big sale right now. Decent sounding for what they are, but reliability history is another thing. Really? I didn't know that. They do sound pretty crazy. I heard them at a show. I couldn't believe how much bass was coming out of those damn things. Those things had hellacious amounts of sound power. Where did I leave off? Eric says, I do have a problem when someone says those Sony bookshelf speakers are better than the S400. I definitely judged my friend when he came at me with that bullshit. So, Eric, what you're talking about is reverse snobbery. There is a group of audiophiles that likes to believe that their inexpensive product is superior to something 10 or even 20 times the price. This is insane. It's insane. And it's usually because some reviewer using an affiliate link overhyped the shit. You know, and it's just not true. Those Sony SSCS5s are fantastic, but they can't even play above 75 dB. You try to turn those motherfuckers above 75 dB and they sound like shit. Like, yeah, that's just reverse snobbery, bro. I don't know why people are like that. Like, I love my S400 Mark IIs. Ask me if I think they're the best $2,500 speaker. No. I think the Cap R3 Met is better, honestly. The S400 Mark II is just more the sound I like. Ask me if I think the S400 Mark IIs punch above their weight because you buy them manufactured direct. No. No, I don't think that either. I really like the speaker. It's not special just because I like it. It's not worth anything more than its asking price just because I like it. That's like reverse snobbery. That people do that. And I think that's a bad habit. And in fact, I see more guys do reverse snobbery where they judge the guy with more money than I see guys with money judge the guys with less. I actually don't see a lot of that. I don't see a lot of, I'm only maybe 2-3 times a year, I'll get like a mega rich guy talking shit in my comments. 2 or 3 times a year, but maybe 200 times a year. I get someone with affordable gear claiming it's like as good as stuff 5 times the price, and us who spend more money are idiots. What are you going to do, huh? Middle Earth is saying Blue Sound has a new 3-channel amplifier. I didn't know that. That's interesting. How long we've been going? 129 minutes. So we're at 2 hours and 10 minutes. This is usually where the stream slows down. Usually this is where it ends. I'm gonna wait a little bit, drink some sparkling water, see if, there's more questions. If there isn't, I don't want to overstay my welcome. This is where we'll end things. But, if there's more questions, I'll answer a few more. I don't have a whole lot more energy in me. Falling Skies is a TV show that just came to Netflix that I've been wanting to watch forever, and I'm currently on season 3 and really loving it. That's probably how I'll spend the rest of my Sunday. I've already done my laundry. I've already done my meal prep for the week, and I've already gone to the gym. Let's go. Let's look at that node. Blue sound amplifier. Oh, the power node. Yeah, the new power node. Yeah. I don't think that's going to do enough for his theater. But it's a cool product. Mike says, appreciate the feedback, Nemo, and on the Discord as well. Yeah, of course, dude. Of course. Peter says, Arendelle speaker, I wonder how much value is added by the savings of buying direct from them. I mean, you get a lot of build quality, I'll tell you that. You get a tremendous amount of build quality. In the 1528 range is, the bookshelves I reviewed are so unique. They don't really have a competitor. Like what other speaker for $4,500 can do 109 dB sustained wideband? They don't really have a competitor, you know what I mean? But in terms of their sonic capability, I wouldn't say they shit on everything that's 5,000. They can get a lot louder. They have tremendously more sound power capability, so you definitely get more of some things. More build quality, more sound power, and headroom if you need that. So if you're like a big room guy with a theater, for example, or you like to listen to your music crazy loud in a big room, yeah, then you would be getting more from a brand like Arendelle. DTD Campbell, was the Kinky Dazzle review still incoming? That's a great question. I was going to get one, and then the reviewer who had it bought it. And then they said they would have to send me one, like a new one. They had to make another one. And we haven't really talked since. I kind of forgot about that. They might be selling just fine. If they're selling just fine, they might not. If they've got orders coming in constantly, it would be bad for them to send me a sample because that sample could go to a paying customer who's waiting. That could be what's going on. I'd love to review it, though. I love Kinky Studio. Harvey says, Nemo, my man, I have the little Dynaudio Evoke 10. Like them, but would like to get the most out of them. Suggestions? Do you think something like the Kinky Studio integrated would be a good match? Well, like the EXM1? I think I'd rather use the Choco Ime. Yeah, because the Evoke 10's mid-range has a little bit of prominence, and because it's a small speaker with a very neutral amp or an analytical amp, it could become sterile. And Kinky Studio is that like fast, analytical, dynamic, detailed sound. Choco mid-range is a little bit warm and rich. I think tonally that might be a better match. Or the Atoll in 80. Yeah. Johnny Buschetti. Another full government name. Love it. I'm debating buying a Marantz 40N, but something is telling me to just buy an integrated amp plus a streamer separately. Your opinion? So I understand what you're saying. It sounds like you might be worried. What happens if when you're all in one, if a part fails or something becomes obsolete? That's part of owning an all-in-one, you know? An all-in-one is great for someone who is not too fussy. So my brother, Johnny, be honest with yourself. If you're a fussy audiophile, and no judgment if you are, a lot of us are fussy. If you are fussy, you might feel more ease and relief having those in separate boxes. But if you're not too fussy, and you're like, I've got a modern living room, I don't want to have a lot of boxes everywhere, I'm just going to buy an all-in-one solution, you know what I mean? And it's probably going to sound great, and you're not going to second guess it, then do that. But if you're going to keep second guessing it, that will suck the enjoyment out of the hobby for you. And then it's not a good idea. That's the main reason I upgraded all my cables. I was using like cheap Amazon Basics cables for a long time, and I kept second guessing them. And it was like sucking the joy out of the hobby. So I spent a few grand, bought some expensive cables, and now I don't have to think about it anymore. Some of this hobby is psychological, you know? Eric says, lots of new products seem to be slightly changed with higher cost. WD 12.2, Arkham. Yeah. I get what you're saying, Eric. You know, like when I bought my first OLED, which is the one behind me, that's the C1. It was on its way out, so I got a deal on it. The C2 had just come out, so Best Buy had the C2 and the C1 at the same time, and I was like, fuck it, I'd rather have the older one for a deal. But then there's other times in my life I put more value in having the newer products. So that's personal choice, but yeah, there is nothing wrong. And in fact, a lot of times it could be a great idea to save some money and buy the outgoing model instead of the newest thing, right? Peter, I don't think Arendelle has a speaker that's $2,400. They got their 1723 1S, but that's like last I checked was $1,700. Let me know if there's a particular speaker you're talking about. Howard says, I have a Bluesound Node 2i. What would be a good upgrade from the 2i? It's now the weakest link in my chain. Lucky for you, I was exactly in that boat. So I can tell you exactly what I did. So 2i doesn't have USB capability, I believe. The 2 does, okay? Using USB, already it's going to sound a little bit better, but that's not really the big upgrade. You could the 2i is old now. Mine ended up breaking, so like you might not have a lot of time left on yours. It might age out, you know? So upgrade to a 2, or the new one I think is called X, whatever, and do the LHY power supply upgrade. A Node 2 or Node X or whatever it's called now with the LHY power supply upgrade and the matching LSY 25 VA PSU from Vinshine Audio is like $300. And it's the best $300 I ever spent. This tweak is so cheap. It's so easy to do. And like I have a friend who's a dealer. He sells streamers that are like $2,000, $3,000, $5,000. And he did this tweak too. And his opinion was, hey man, a Node with that power supply upgrade is not quite on par with a $3,000 streamer, but it's close. Like the next upgrade is like $3,000 is what you have to spend, $2,500 to $3,000. So that's what I would suggest. That's what I did, and I couldn't be happier. I gained some holographics. I gained some effortlessness, and just overall a better sound. Like it was so worth it for such little money. Let me see if I can bring it up. I'll link you to it. And keep in mind, Vinshine's pricing is all in Singaporean dollar. Conversion to USD is 0.7. So it will be cheaper. Where's the Node stuff? I don't see it. Oh, here it is. Node PSU kit. Sorry. So when I'm saying Node 2 or Node X, I'm referring to the N130 model specifically, okay? So yeah, dude, it's still so affordable. Yeah, so it's 389 Singaporean. Let's see what that is in US. That's with the power supply, 306. So cheap, so good. I'm gonna put the link in the chat. Hold on. But you're gonna want to do it to a Node N130 so you have that USB. Mike says, you a fan of Buckeye Purify Hypex series amps? They have good options. Those are power amps. I don't really review power amps, but I did hear what the Hypex modules could do when I reviewed the Billy Amp Mark III that was equipped with the Hypex modules, and I was blown away. That sounded so good. It was really good sound. Yeah. Harvey says, thanks, Nemo. You the man. No problem, bro. No problem. Happy to help. Novalicious says, Nemo, have you ever been to Rafi's? It's one of my top 5 or top. Had dinner with some Persian buds yesterday, and all agree that it was the best place ever. I'm not Persian. Where is Rafi's? Oh, Glendale? That's kind of far, bro. Their roads are really bad too. I won't drive my cars in Glendale, bro. You're gonna bend a wheel, crack a wheel, blow out a tire. Yeah, bro, your shit gets stolen. I ain't going to Glendale, bro. No hate. Like, I love the Armenian community out there, and they definitely have some good food in Glendale, but I don't go that way. Eric says Zero Fidelity recently had high praise for the name Nate 50, saying you'd have to spend $10K to get noticeable improvement in sound. What's the best 2K integrated amp you've heard? I use 2 inputs, and you want it to be small. Choco Ime, $1,700. Almost fucking throat fucked myself there. Jeez. Yeah, Choco Ime is from that. That's my pick. I haven't heard the Nate 50. I think I talked to him about it, but I can't remember what he said. You know what I mean? You know me, I'm apprehensive. I don't generally believe like a product can compete at like, well, what does it cost? You know what I mean? Let me see what it cost. Okay. So if I remember correctly, I believe that was an amp that originally came out and it was just for a heartbeat priced a lot higher. And I believe they struck a deal with a dealer who went exclusive on it. And part of that deal allowed him to price it differently. So now it's priced differently. I've never heard it, but if you're just asking my favorite amp around 2K, that's small, is going to be the Choco Ime. I love the Choco Ime. I'll drop a link to it so you know what I'm talking about. It's made by Kinky Studio. And it is just so damn good. I love it. There's no subwoofer outs though. If you want one with subwoofer outs, then Atoll in 80. I'll type it. Atoll in 80, really good. Probably gonna see me review that thing in a week or two. Oh, small room. Yeah. Choco Ime or Atoll in 80. Either one of those, bro. Howard says, thank you. No problem. Feliciano says, yo, what'd I miss? I just saw the notification. Bro, you missed everything. We cured cancer. We fixed the homelessness problem in the world. We fed all the starving children. We did a lot. We did a lot these past couple hours. You missed it all. Sorry. Even we all got the winning lottery numbers. Nah, I'm just kidding. You know, bro, just regular stream. You didn't miss too much. You didn't miss too much. We're just all bullshitting here. All good, Peter. No worries. DTD Campbell says the name Nate 50 doesn't have a remote. Oh, get it the fuck out of here. No remote? Are you fucking kidding me? Jeez. So it's a desktop amp, basically. If it doesn't have a remote, it's a desktop amp. Like, what am I going to do with that? Feliciano, no. And you know what's funny? We actually blocked someone for asking me that question. I know you're not a bot, though, so I'm not going to block you. But please don't ask me about that brand. We don't talk about that brand. No. Eric, I know Feliciano. He's a real person. He's a longtime subscriber. He's just genuinely asking. But yeah, we don't talk about that brand, Feliciano. Not on this channel. So the answer is no. I will not review it. I will not review any of their products. Yeah, Mike. Yeah, we fixed all the politics. Yeah. I gave away a car. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. It's all good, Feliciano. No problem. No problem. But yeah, no, you didn't miss too much, bro. In the middle, I got like a little political. Just people were asking questions, and I didn't get political or nothing like that. I just told everyone, hey, let's talk about hi-fi, basically. So if you missed anything, it was that. You know what I mean? I did end up blocking someone because I thought they were a bot, and they weren't a bot, and then they got mad at me, and I was like, fuck it, whatever. You know what I mean? Because I didn't like the way they like reacted afterwards, but you're good. So how long have we been going now? 147 minutes? That's kind of a while. Damn. The tree is fake as hell, Mike. That thing right there, super fake. I'm a tree killer. I can't have real plants. Not only that, like with real plants, you got to water them. They leave stains on the ground, and you get bugs sometimes. Yeah. Novalicious, would I ever drive a Tesla? Why or why not? Have you tried one? Give me your thoughts on Tesla versus actual cars. No. Absolutely the fuck not. I would never drive a Tesla. Absolutely not. Yes, I've driven them. Yes, I've been in them. Yes, I know they're fast. I don't care. I don't care. There's no soul. Tesla cars are like cheap Class D amps. Yes, you get a lot of wattage for your money. So what? So what? The quality of the wattage isn't what I want. And the quality of Tesla horsepower is not the same as real horsepower. It's just not. You know? There's something visceral about driving a real car with real horsepower that EVs just don't have. A really fast EV feels a lot like a roller coaster that like just takes off. It feels very hydraulic and artificial. It pushes you into the seat like crazy, but that novelty wears off without the soul of hearing the engine wind up. You know, like hearing the exhaust, just like all that fucking raw power that comes out of a car. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, I would never drive an EV. That ain't me, bro. Like I'll tell you, like when I drive my cars, I get looks all the time. People are like, damn, your car is clean. No one will ever in an EV look at your car, take a picture. Like when I drive my cars through my neighborhoods, little kids that are like skateboarding, riding their bikes, they stop and look at my car. I see little kids walking with their dads, and I'll see the dads stop and look at my car, and the kids stop and look at my car. That will never happen with an EV. No kid is ever going to look at my EV and think that's cool. Now, do I only care about my cars because other people think they're cool? No, of course not. I didn't buy my car for other people, right? I'm trying to prove a point that so cars and, you know, like little kids liking cars has kind of always been a thing. We all had toy cars, whether they were like the little micro machines or, you know, the Hot Wheels. Little boys, we love cars. We always have. And little kids will tell you the truth. Like there's a saying, if a kid tells you you're ugly, you're really ugly, because little kids don't lie. And little kids don't care about electric cars. They don't think they're cool. So like, that's the answer. They're not. There's no soul. There's no feeling to them. It's just this artificial hydraulic acceleration that, again, is powerful. But if all we wanted was power, we would all be using DJ amplifiers. Those DJ amplifiers. I can't remember who makes them. Not Crown. There's another brand that makes these really cheap ones, and they have thousands of watts. If we all wanted power, that's what we would use. But that's not, we all know. Watts has nothing to do with your sound quality. And horsepower has nothing to do with the emotional experience of driving a car. Mike says, I'd rather have a sound bar than drive a Tesla. Yeah. Eric says, do you still sell some of your stuff on Facebook Marketplace? Sometimes. I don't have much stuff left, I did a pretty good house cleaning a year ago, 9 months, maybe 6 to 9 months ago. And I got rid of most of the gear I wasn't using. But I will list stuff occasionally. I got a set of wheels on Marketplace right now. I got a car audio subwoofer on Marketplace right now. But that's it. Svalbard is asking if I ever invested in silver. I have a ton of investments, but none in silver. I've seen it's going up, but no, I don't have any silver investments. Feliciana says raw power for the win. EVs are the new rice rockets. No, because even the rice rockets have some emotion to them, Nemo has a budget for his speeding tickets. Honestly, Chris, I don't really speed that often. I've had fast cars my whole life. So usually people who have had fast cars a lot, we don't drive that fast because we've always had that. It's usually the guys that have their first fast car who get a lot of speeding tickets. You say you've always had cars like Toyota Camry, Honda Accord, and then you get a BMW M340, that's going to feel like a rocket ship. That's a new experience for you. So you're going to be ripping that thing around like crazy and getting a ton of speeding tickets. But even when I was 22, I had a Civic hatchback with an engine swap. I turbocharged it, and on low boost, it was making 412 horsepower at the wheels, right? I've always had cars with a lot of power. So I don't really let them rip too often, once in a while, but not too often. It's you gotta think about safety, right? And you have to respect other drivers. If you zip by like an old lady, that scares the shit out of them. You know what I mean? You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Feliciano says they're for wannabe enthusiasts. Kind of. Peter says, Mike, that's a good question for Nemo. If you had to choose, which would he choose? Soundbar or EV? Soundbar. I like cars way more than audio. Novalicious says, bro, you like bookshelves. I only do floor standers. I'm balls to the wall into Teslas, and I know you're into gas. Love that we have HQ base in common, high quality base in common. Yeah. It's all good. It's all good to have different takes on shit. You know what I mean? It is all good, man. My friend just sold his BMW M5 and got a Tesla Model S. It's whatever. It's your life. And this is the only one you got. Be true to yourself. Do the things that bring you joy, that make you happy. Who cares what people think? Who cares if I don't like EVs? If you like EVs, get one. Get one. It's all good. Jay Harris Maiden says, just a quick hey before going to bed. Hey, what's up, brother? Sleep well. Svalbard, yes, I've driven many GT3s. I almost bought one. I've driven the 991.1 GT3, 991.2 GT3, and 992.1 GT3. I've driven all of them. I was in the market for one. I almost bought one. We were like five. You know what's funny? So look, it was a 991.2 white. It only had 4,000 miles on it, and it was 195. And I told the dude, I'm like, hey, like 191, we could shake hands. I'll buy it right now. Dude was like, no. This was at a dealership. Dude was like, no. I'm like, okay. So I left. On my drive home, I stopped by another dealership and I test drove a R8 V10. And that shit sparked joy. I love that fucking car. That's what I ended up buying. But I had that GT3 tagged on cars.com, so I kept getting price adjustment updates. So they turned down my 191 offer. 2 weeks later, they dropped the price to 192. 2 weeks later, they dropped it to 190. 3 weeks later, they dropped it to 185. They ended up selling the car for 182. They should have taken my 191 offer. But I'm happy I got the R8 V10 over the GT3. GT3s are cool, but it didn't spark joy for me the same way a R8 V10 did. There's just something intoxicating about that V10 sound. And the truth is, Boxer engines they're not the best sounding engines in the world. They're just not. The R8 V10 was the one for me. Feliciano says EG Civic K20, lots of fun. Yeah, that's a badass setup. I had an EK Civic with a B16B and a Garrett GT30R turbo on it with the ram horn manifold. That was a lot of fun. But back when I was fucking with the Hondas, like K20s were just barely getting popular. I had this Civic back in like 2003. You know what I mean? Like, I'll put it to you like this. The Garrett GT30R had just come out. Peter says, I'm the one that has to die when it's time for me to die, so let me live my life the way I want to. Jimi Hendrix quote. Yeah. Carl says, music is eternal. Let it speak for me. John Sykes. Yeah, good quote. Svalbard says, LOL, dealership salesman ego equals loser mindset. Yeah, like he just made a bad call. But I'm grateful he did. Because as cool as the GT3 was, it did not get me on fire. Like, I didn't leave that test drive feeling any excitement. When I drove the R8 V10, bro, I felt euphoria driving home. I felt like excited. I was on fire for that car. And I own it now, and every time I drive it, I'm like on fire for it. And no GT3 I've ever driven has given me that feeling. I think there's just something about having a big fucking 5.2 liter V10 behind you, you know? It's just different. Yeah, Feliciano, you remember. You remember it was the same, like the audio dealer did me dirty the same way on the Folk House Sopra #1s. Oh my God, that's crazy that you remember. Yeah, I don't know why that happens to me all the time. Maybe it's God stopping me from making a mistake. You know what I mean? So it's all good. It's all good. Chris says, would you rather drive Pismo Beach to Monterey or Mission Viejo to San Diego? I've never driven from Pismo to Monterey, so I don't know what that's like. I've done Mission Viejo to San Diego before. That's not that bad of a drive, you know? Like it's long, but it's like pretty wide open. It's like on the coast, you know? It's nice. You know, you pass the giant boobs, the nuclear reactors that are decommissioned. I've never done Pismo to Monterey. Nemo, are you also into mechanical watches? Audiophiles, mechanical watches and cars all tend to attract the same kind of crowd. My spirit car is the GTR, but sad as fuck they're not in production. I'm not like I have a nice mechanical watch, but I'm not into watches, if you will. Yeah, I still need to get a watch winder for it because I have to keep fucking changing it. But it was a gift. It's a nice watch. I appreciate it, but I'm not into watches. As far as the GTR, I almost bought a GTR also. It was my buddy's. It was really nice. Here's the thing about GTRs. So don't fret, Novalicious, that they're out of production because as cool as they are, Most people don't buy GTRs and keep them for a long time because the novelty of the car wears off. They're really great at going fast, but the interior is a bit lackluster. The driving experience is absolutely lacking in refinement. There's all kinds of noises the car makes and rattles. Every GTR owner I know, like, they're constantly worried their car's broken because of the noises it makes. It's literally called GTR noise. It's a thing. Look it up. You'll see what I mean. So as cool as they are, I don't think you're missing out on a major life experience by not owning one, because I think after like 6 months, the novelty of it might wear off and you'd be one of those people who just sell it and move on, right? A lot of the new M cars are like that too. People buy them, they enjoy them for like a year, and then they sell them because the novelty wears off. Yeah, Torque is like current. Yeah, it's a Nissan after all, LOL. Yeah, I mean, well said. But, we have to consider the price. I understand it's a Nissan, but, a decent GTR on the used market right now, $85,000, $90,000, you can buy a brand new BMW M3 for that money. And with a downpipe and a tune, you could have almost 700 horsepower if you want a fast car. You could buy a secondhand 911 for that price. You can buy for much less money, because these depreciate like crazy, believe it or not, BMW M550, which is not quite the M5, but it still has a twin turbo V8 with 525 horsepower. You can buy those for like 60K, 50K. Used M5s routinely go for 80, 90K. Audi RS6 with like 25,000 miles goes for like 90K. So, yeah, the GTR is really cool, but you can get a lot of other stuff in that price category. Anyways, guys, we've been talking for 162 minutes. That's almost 3 hours. That's 2.7 hours. I gotta call it quits. I'm starting to lose my voice. I'm gonna let you guys, give you guys like a minute or two to ask any like questions that are maybe burning desires, and then we'll wrap it up. Novalicious, in terms of like what GTR owners have upgraded to, anything and everything. Like one of my buddies went from a GTR to a Ford F350 turbo diesel. Like another one of my friends, he sold the GTR and he got into a Cayman GT4, but then same thing, a year later, he sold the Cayman GT4, right? And I think now he has a 991.1 GT3. Like, finding a car you fall in love with is like, you got to just find the one that puts you on fire when you test drive it, bro. Like, for a lot of people, it's a GT3. For me, it wasn't, Also, Feliciano, like, if you're a big guy, like if you got like a broad chest, you're going to find it to be a very uncomfortable car. The seats are so fucking narrow. Like, I'm not that big, right? Like, this is like my chest, my shoulders, right? I don't fit in a GTR seat. The stock seats, I don't fit. You need to be like the very slim build. But also, Feliciano, if Turo is available in your area, maybe rent one on Turo for like a day or two and see if you like it. Because look, there are guys who buy GTRs and keep them forever. It's just most of them, the novelty wears off. Part of that is your personality too, though. Like, look at me. Like, I'm someone who's easily content. I still use the Bucard S400s. I love them. When I find something I like, I don't rock the boat. Other people like variety. They like to change things often. So if your personality is more like mine, maybe you will be happy with a GTR for a long time, Just people saying bye bye. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Okay. So yeah, that's the stream, guys. Hey, thank you everyone for tuning in. I appreciate it. I think we had a good time. First stream of 2026. Next review, I got a few videos filmed already, some comparisons. We got the Atoll N80 filmed. I still need to review the Atom GT sub, some other stuff. We'll see what happens. You know what I mean? I see you guys saying peace and bye and good chat and all. I appreciate that. You know what I mean? But yeah, look, I'm gonna shut up. My throat's starting to hurt. I hope you guys have a great Monday and rest of your week and all that stuff.